I am Foollboy Games.
I'm
This is Peytonador.
I'm Peytonador. What an intro.
We really have to on that.
This is Robert, episode 2.
Yes, it is in fact episode 2.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yeah, 2 days.
All you Americans.
Yeah, all you
I don't wish any happiness on you Brits.
dang redcoats.
Get lost. Except Bernard Cribbins, we can keep him.
Yeah, Bernard, he can stay. So,
yes.
What shall we talk about today, Peytonador?
I think the idea was, after we give some brief rundowns of what we have all been doing and what's happening this week, was to give some of the highlights of American history. You know, the greatest events.
In our history as a country.
The biggest madlads. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. So
yes.
I guess we should things about the week.
Yeah, I can say one thing that happened this week that was not good.
Mm-hmm.
That was tragic. Technoblade. Rest in peace.
Passing. It was quite tragic, quite sad.
A good man to the end. Yeah. Cancer usually does.
I didn't know. I didn't know about it until the day after he passed away, when I woke up that morning and did my daily checking of my notifications and found he had passed away.
Okay, so you weren't a fan, you had just known him in passing.
No, I watched his videos. It's just that I went to bed with the video. Or I was off YouTube. I don't remember what I was doing when the video was uploaded.
Yeah, I was off YouTube as well. I just remember seeing a community post that was like a pig and a crown. And I was like, oh no. Does this mean what I think it means?
And yeah, he passed away.
Please, no. Yeah. Very unfortunate. One of the funniest people on YouTube.
He was quite hilarious.
That Potato War series is an absolute banger if you have not watched it already.
I've seen it. That's probably the videos I've seen the most of his.
Yeah.
I love them. Now, I really can't watch his videos at the moment for how bittersweet it is watching them. So.
Yes. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. Do we have any good news this week?
Let's see. No. Nothing really happened this week.
I went hiking this week. That was cool. I saw a tree. A couple, actually.
A couple hundred, probably.
Yeah. That was fun. Other than that, I've done nothing.
Yeah.
There was no Kenobi finale this week, for those wondering.
To be honest with you, I really don't really care too much for the Disney Plus shows. After Mandalorian, they started overdoing it for the fan service and money. So Kenobi was all right. Boba Fett wasn't awful.
Boba Fett was not that good. No. I've given up on Ms. Marvel. That's my opinion.
It's probably going to be absolutely horrendous.
I watched episode 1, liked it. Episode 2 was so bad that I lost all motivation.
He just looked at the TV screen, decided that he was going to die, so he jumped out a window.
Yeah, I did jump out a window. Fortunately, I do have wings, so not something to try at home.
Yeah, don't try that at home, kids. Don't open up the window and jump.
Unless
and if
it's
you do,
like
do a flip.
5 feet from the ground. Yeah, do a flip. Preferably multiple, depending on how high you are off the ground.
Yes. So, shall we begin with the American thing?
Yeah. I have 4 different stories that I'd like to draw attention to.
Shoot away.
Okay, I'll start with this first one, at least. So I took a history class this last school year, and the teacher for that epic guy, he knew a lot about Andrew Jackson, the president, 7th president, founder of the Democratic Party. And, geez, that man, I mean, he was a character, alright. So, to set this up, alright, Andrew Jackson is rumored to have taken part in over 100 duels. The gun kind, where people die. Not all of them involved a death, but one of them definitely did. Did you ask something?
Yeah, 360 no scopes. Okay.
Yes, that's how they did it. But yes, so Andrew Jackson had a rival horse breeder whose name was Charles Dickinson. Plantation owners, blah blah blah. Anyways, one day, this Charles guy made fun of Jackson's wife. And Jackson was pretty proud of his wife. He challenged Dickinson to a duel, and Dickinson, for reference, is like the best dueler in Wisconsin, alright? He's killed like 10 guys before. Jackson had no way of surviving. Well, he had no way of getting the first shot in. So what he does with his friends is on the day of the fight, he just puts on tons of clothing so that he's like completely covered, just fully round. And he shows up to the duel. They do the 10 paces, blah blah blah. They start, and he tanks the shot. It goes inches away from his heart. And then Charles, Mr. Dickinson, he, seeing that Jackson's still alive, has no choice but to just stand there while Jackson takes out his gun and kills him. Just like that.
Hey, don't mess with another man's wife, especially if that... Yeah, I guess... I don't know.
Yeah, especially if it's a guy this insane. He said, after the fight, that he was so enraged, if he had shot me through the brain, sir, I would have killed him. So he was very confident and terrifying.
Yeah. It sounds like a pretty crazy guy.
Oh, I forgot the picture. Definitely. A true founder of the Democrats, if you will. Another story that I have involving Andrew Jackson and guns, the wide spectrum. The first presidential assassination attempt in the U.S. Have you heard of this one?
Probably. I don't know.
It's insane. But there was this guy, alright, Richard Lawrence, another character in the Andrew Jackson cinematic universe. A mentally ill paint shop owner. That might have to do with lead, I don't know. Lead does that kind of stuff. On January 30th, 1935, this deranged man was sitting in his shop
Peyton,
reading a book, laughing. Yeah?
Peyton, you said 1935.
Oh, no. My notes are incorrect. 1835. Big distinction.
Okay.
But he was sitting in his paint shop, reading a book, maniacally laughing, as you do, normally. And he just got up, uttered, I'll be darned if I don't do it, with the more adult language, and just walked out of the shop. And I assume that everyone else in the shop was just so dumbstruck and confused. But regardless, Jackson was at the funeral of one of the representatives, and he was just walking out with his bodyguard and such. And this Lawrence guy steps out from behind him, pulls the trigger on him, and the gun jams. So, but he thought of this. He pulled out a second gun and pulled the trigger, and it jammed again.
What the heck?
The odds of that happening are so minute.
Very.
Apparently it's due to moisture and stuff, this gun model, historians say. It's so bizarre. But lucky, maybe. He wasn't a great president. Full disclosure.
Was not.
Anyways, Jackson, seeing this guy very nearly kill him, just took his cane and almost beat Lawrence to death. People had to pull him off of Lawrence, including Davy Crockett, who's here for some reason. And so Lawrence survived. He goes up against the prosecutor, who just happens to be the writer of the Star-Spangled Banner, because there wasn't a lot of people back then. I guess people like this just pop up.
Yeah.
His words to the jury were, "It is for me, gentlemen, to pass judgment on you, not you upon me." Which is so villain-like. They decided he was crazy after 5 minutes. He was wrong about that whole judgment thing. Yep, died 2 months into the Civil War. A great American soul. Truly.
The dude really was crazy.
Completely crazy.
I believe he was the first president to ever be impeached, wasn't it? Wasn't he?
Andrew Johnson. Close, though. We've had 2 Andrew J's. They both sucked.
I'd imagine.
Honestly, anyone with the name Andrew should not be trusted.
Yes, especially if they like bears.
We'll get to him. Eventually. No matter how episodes it take.
We will.
Do you have anything?
I was thinking about just sort of starting from the beginning of America.
All right.
The amazing historian that I am.
We sure like the beginning of America.
Yeah. Excuse me. You see,
you are excused.
There was a group of really, really smart dudes. There was James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington.
I see.
Thomas Jefferson, a few other guys. Alexander Hamilton, a few other, really rad, intelligent dudes that decided one day because of England's, taxes upon the American colonies, because they fought a war.
Hate those things.
Yeah, those things take away your livelihood. We decided
British
to
people
start a
truly
war.
do.
We sent them a Declaration of Independence, and then the king was like, so we fought. And we almost
Did we
lost
win?
the war times. Yeah. But we did win, yeah.
Nice. Haven't heard this one.
Yeah, no, it's a completely new story. And then this really cool dude named... Well, at first there was the Papers of Confederacy, But then I believe it was James Madison, or one of them decided,
Yeah.
Or actually a few of them decided these things kind of suck. So they got rid of those old things for the old
They
government
did
and
be.
decided to write a new thing for a new government, the Constitution. So they wrote it up, and they all signed it. And then George Washington, this really tall, good-looking, humble womanizer dude of the United States.
I wasn't. It's
He saved slaves with
it's
his wife
likely.
when they were married. He was also a part of the Freemasons, which is pretty much the cult. The occult.
Oh boy, that's a fun discussion. Let's get into that one.
Yeah. Yeah, no. The Freemasons are somewhat crazy. You know?
They're always building clay pots and ceramics.
Yeah.
That's in Freemasons.
Crazy.
No one knows
Do
why.
you have any other stories? Because I finished my one.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
This is the... So, as true American tradition, 3 out of 4 of my stories involve guns and shooting people. Just...
America! Heck yeah! Anyway.
Heck yeah. God bless the USA. This next one is hilarious. It's also not that unknown. You may have heard of this one. Maybe. Theodore Roosevelt. Alright, the original Chad. Maybe. I'm not going to guarantee that. But
he was pretty awesome.
For context, he had been president and then had stopped being president, and someone else became president. Taft, fat guy, couldn't fit in the White House tub. And then Theodore Roosevelt went into exile or something in the Badlands, came back, saw, this fat guy in the White House, and thought, I don't like him. I can do better. So he ran for president again, against his fellow Republican. Ended up splitting the vote. A Democrat got to office. One of the worst presidents we've ever had. Pretty unanimously. But yes, that's the time period where this story takes place. It was
Did it happen during a speech?
It did happen during a speech, yeah. You've heard of this one?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
It is pretty
John
awesome.
Schrank was a fluent Bible scholar, great debater. He was well known in his community, hadn't had any issues, no crime, had a clean record. But then he got hit with so many tragedies. It's insane. So you know orphans, right? You've heard of orphans?
Yeah.
Imagine becoming a double orphan.
Oh boy.
Your parents die. You get sent to live with your aunt and uncle, and your aunt and uncle die. That's what happened to this guy. He was a double orphan. And then his girlfriend drowned in a steamboat accident. The General Slocum accident. Something like that in New York. This probably drove him insane. All of this happening. This John Schrank guy. John Schrank. So he gets the idea. Well, no, first off, he gets told in a dream by Roosevelt's predecessor, William McKinley, who had been assassinated. He was told by his former president in a dream to kill Roosevelt to avenge his death. And so he goes along with it. Roosevelt's giving a campaign speech in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. How close is Milwaukee to you?
It's maybe 3 to 4 hours from here.
All right.
I'm close to Minneapolis and St. Paul. I'm right on the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin.
This is like our area then. That's neat. Connections. But yes, at the beginning of the speech, the crowd gives a cheer, and Schrank pulls out his gun, shoots Roosevelt, and it hits him. And it goes through his glasses case and a double-folded 50-page speech copy. And so Roosevelt is barely injured. He's bleeding, but he's not coughing up blood. And since he's a hunter, he knows that if he's not coughing up blood, he's probably not doomed. It hasn't reached his lungs. So Roosevelt is experiencing no fear. The crowd tries to lynch the guy. Roosevelt tells him not to. He says, "Come here. Bring him here." And he looks his assassin right in the eyes. Just asks him what he did that for. And I imagine that John Schrank, at this moment, was petrified, scared out of his mind, that this man in front of him had just swallowed up a bullet and was now looking him right in the eyes. Schrank gets whisked away. Yeah, he went to an insane asylum, which would probably sucked at this point in time.
The former president was like, "I need you to kill this guy," in your dream. I'd imagine that warrants a mental hospital stay, especially if you go with it.
Well, that happens all the time. Who hasn't had that happen to him?
Me?
I've
never dreamed.
The ghost of William McKinley constantly is in my dreams. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay, then.
After getting shot, he continues the speech, opens it with, "Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether you fully understand that I've been shot, but it takes more than that to kill a bull moose." And he gives his speech for over 80 minutes, and then goes to the hospital. What a Chad. And to give you a picture how better democracy was back then, his opponents, Wilson and Taft, suspended their campaign while he was in the hospital just to wait for him to catch up. Imagine that happening nowadays.
Yeah.
Good times.
It's pretty Chad-like of a Chad to get shot and just be like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah. Apparently he was trying to recognize the guy, I think. He didn't. Unless, he had spoke to him in a dream or something.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
And I'm really concerned that you're having dreams of, President Taft telling you to do things, and I imagine that's not good.
Well, I don't do those things, so that's an improvement. Most of the time.
Yeah, announcement, Peytonador's a schizophrenic. He hears
now, when Millard Fillmore visits me in my dreams, I do what he says.
Okay.
To be clear.
Yeah.
I do listen to Millard Fillmore.
Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna tell another story.
I'm listening.
There's this one story. I'm not sure if you heard of it or not, but there's this guy. His name is John Wilkes Booth. He shot this really good person. He was a really honest person. Honest Abe.
George Washington.
Yeah, George Washington.
Famous womanizer.
he actually, I don't think he was that much of a womanizer. I just think it was before he was married. I just think that was sort of a joke someone made. But,
Who knows?
alright, let me continue. So,
Alright.
this crazy guy named John Wilkes Booth decides, I don't like this Honest Abe dude. He seems not pretty good because he did things that I didn't like.
He's too honest.
Yeah, he's too honest. So, one day he gets this group of people and he says, we're going to kidnap him. I believe it's also either the vice president or his wife and General Grant. I think were the 2 others or 3 others or 4, how many they were ever going to kidnap and do
I think
something.
it was 4 people in total.
Yeah, so, but these other 2 dudes, or 3, however there were like, nah, man, we don't feel like, getting in trouble with the U.S. government. So they bailed out. So John Wilkes Booth is like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Thanos moment.
Yeah, went to the Ford's Theater, I'm not sure if it's you, but Abraham Lincoln has had really bad experiences in theaters, So, he goes
the
up
other
to
one?
this guy, and, this Honest Abe guy, and for some weird, stupid reason, he shoots him in the back of the head,
That's so random.
Yeah, I know, it's as if he was planning it. And then he jumps off the balcony, breaks his leg, and says something in Latin. I think it's something that, I think it's in English, down with tyrants, something like that. And then he runs off.
Right.
Yeah, he was quoting a Shakespeare play. I think it was Julius Caesar. It's what Brutus said. And then he runs away, and then he goes and he finds one of his friends, and his friend helps him, run around and hide and escape from the U.S. military. And then they do find him. They were actually meant to take him alive, but some Chad shot him in the neck and killed him.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's my story.
John Wilkes Booth, what an American hero.
Yeah, he killed a really honest person. Man who set the slaves free.
He did it himself.
Yeah, it's only a few months before a massive war just ended. But,
Mm-hmm.
Have you
seen the video on YouTube where there's a very old guy, this was filmed in like the 1960s or whatever, you can watch a guy who personally saw John Wilkes Booth jump down after killing Lincoln.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that. That's pretty cool.
That's so cool. It's insane.
I think he was like 5, wasn't he? Or like...
He was at least very young when it happened.
Yeah, he would have been... He was over 100 if he did the interview.
I don't remember exactly when the interview took place, but that's cool that we can... Internet's awesome.
Yeah. It was Sic Semper Tyrannis, is what he said. Sic Semper Tyrannis.
I see.
That's what he said.
I think one of his co-conspirators actually did go through with it. He just got beaten up. So...
Serves him right.
So much for that guy. He probably got hanged. Almost certainly.
John Wilkes Booth, you can't be doing those things. Can't be going around shooting world leaders.
You gotta do better, John Wilkes Booth. Come on.
Alright, so do you have any more very patriotic stories?
I've got one more, and it might just be the most patriotic of them all.
Alright.
Let's go back to a time when California was still occupied by absolute insane people. They had the highest positions of power, except people actually liked them.
Alright.
Let me introduce you to the story of Emporer Norton, unless you've already heard of this one too.
I don't think I've ever heard this one.
So, a wealthy immigrant from South Africa, a famous African American, a true, rags to riches story. Actually, it's the opposite, riches to rags. Because, just to sum it up, he buys too much rice and goes bankrupt.
What?
It's a very strong oversimplification, but he literally bought too much rice. And he became homeless, going around on the streets. Until one day, he's fed up with everything, declares himself Emperor of the United States. And he sends this declaration of his to the San Francisco newspapers. And they find it so funny that they publish it. And now the whole town knows about this guy who just declared himself emperor. And they go along with it. He gets a beaver hat with a giant peacock feather, becomes a local celebrity. People bow to him when they walk by him on the street. He gets free public transport. They give him quote-unquote taxes, which is just homeless support, essentially.
Alright.
He makes an order abolishing the Congress in Washington, D.C. They fail to listen to him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He tries to get both the Protestants and the Catholics to crown him emperor. Unfortunately, they ghosted him as well. But in San Francisco, this man is a complete celebrity. He introduces his own currency. I've heard them called Norton bucks or whatever. I doubt they were called that back in the day.
Norton VPN?
He made his own currency. A lot of shops actually used it. Certain restaurants he would give his approval to, and they'd put it at the window. It's like emperor-approved dining, and more people would sit there. Toy shops in San Francisco started selling Emperor Norton action figures and dolls.
When was this?
This is in like the 18th or 19th century, so the 1800s. Yeah, like mid 1800s, when all this crazy stuff was going down. At one point, a police officer says, "Guys, this man is clearly insane. We shouldn't be propping him up." And he arrests Emperor Norton. And the Californian public absolutely freaks out. Alright, there are riots in the streets. This is, what's it called?
This madness.
Mutiny. It was a mutiny. He had just overthrown the Empire of the United States.
Yeah.
So the police eventually give in to the public, release Emperor Norton, and then Norton turns to the cop that arrested him and gave him a royal pardon.
Okay.
And now, after this incident, every cop saluted him as they saw him.
Ridiculous. And when did this man die?
We'll get to that. Also, after he lived, I assume, in the 18-somethings. He theorized the League of Nations way before it came into being.
Yeah.
So he could have solved World War I, honestly. There's a story where he goes up to an anti-Chinese mob and starts praying and telling people to knock off, and he ends racism. Unfortunately, the Democrat Party still existed. According to some YouTube comments, he had a feud with the guy he thought was George Washington. George Washington was dead long before Norton was born, by the way.
Yeah, the dude died in like 1799.
Yeah.
The heck?
When Mexico was invaded by the French, in addition to being Emperor of the United States, he also dubbed himself the Lord Protector of Mexico, because no one else was protecting Mexico, so he took the honor upon himself. Such a noble, good leader of the people. Mexico was not protected. He sent a bunch of letters to Queen Victoria in England, trying to get her to marry him to solve world peace or something.
Man, this dude, he was truly something.
Truly. Here's the King of Hawaii, back when it was still a tribal people, refused to recognize the Congress in Washington. Instead recognized Emperor Norton, which he was actually recognized by other world powers. He's a legitimate leader. What a good...
This is ridiculous.
I know. Unfortunately, he continued to live in poverty. One day, collapsed on a street corner. And for his funeral, because he died, the public of San Francisco, from all classes, all races, attended his funeral. A lot of people. And he lives today as a legend in San Francisco, and also apparently a patron in some weird religion that I didn't do any research in. That's the story of Emperor Norton.
Interesting.
America's only true leader.
So a guy who bought a bunch of rice, went bankrupt, declared himself the Emperor of the United States.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. What did he make San Francisco like the capital of the United States? Or the center of it?
I don't know. But he was emperor, I guess.
If that actually happened today, I would follow the emperor. Screw Washington. This guy looks cool.
You got the Republic of Malaysia. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's just like a small country in the middle of like a desert or something. Let's see, let's look this up on.
Alright. Was that your last story?
It was.
Alright. Oh boy, what should my next story be?
Let's see. Okay, you got one?
You know, there was this guy, his name was Donald Trump, and
Never heard of him.
yeah, me neither, but I didn't hear of him until today, but his
Alright.
his dad was rich, he dealed in real estate and hotels, a bunch of other stuff.
Wow.
And then his father gave him a small loan of $1 million,
Very small.
Quite a small loan. I make more than that in a week. But so he goes to college, and and when his dad dies, he takes over his dad's company, and becomes a billionaire, makes a lot of money doing all this. And one day, he decides that he wants to be president. So he runs for president. I think this was back in the 80s.
Man.
You know?
Yes.
And he lost, you know.
Oh, no.
And then he ran again, I believe, in the 90s or early 2000s. And he
Plot
lost
twist.
again. Yeah.
Dang.
And then one year, the Republican committee, I think it was, or just the party itself, nominated him to be their lead runner. And so, he became their lead runner and won. You know?
Dang.
Quite the underdog story.
That was a true rags to riches story.
Yeah.
He worked his way up to become the highest person in the land.
And then they tried to impeach him multiple times.
How did that go?
It failed miserably for the Democrats.
Well, maybe next time.
Yeah, yeah.
He's still there, I presume.
Still where?
Still in the presidency.
Nope. Mm-mm. There's this really old, crazy guy, Biden, who rides bikes and falls off them. He likes ice cream a lot.
Oh, this sounds like a sitcom character.
He also dislikes, Corn Pop because he was a bad dude.
Corn Pop was, to be fair, a bad dude.
He was a bad dude.
He ran a bunch of bad boys. And bang. Something about diving caps or whatever, I don't know.
And then he got arrested in, I think it was Malaysia with, I forgot who it was with. And he's a really big fan of the song Despacito. He also likes to shake hands of invisible ghosts.
He does like to do that. Maybe it's William McKinley.
Yeah.
Maybe William McKinley is appearing to Joe Biden physically in his waking life.
Yeah, he also likes to sniff people and kiss his granddaughters on the lips, but that's just your average crazy grandpa uncle,
Yeah, we've talked about a couple of those today, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my story.
That's a good story. Hopefully it gets a part 2 very soon.
Yeah.
Oh, would you look at the time? Oh, geez. I think it's time for our favorite segment. Everyone's favorite segment.
What would that be?
Bro, you know what the favorite segment is? Everyone's favorite
Something
segment.
about Wasp.
Yeah, Wasp of the Week. This week. Alright. Yellow-legged mud dauber. Wow, look at that stomach. It's huge.
I am not a wasp. I'm a bee.
Oh, well, plot twist.
I'm one of those bees from Minecraft that got removed.
There were bees in Minecraft that got removed?
There were bees.
That got removed?
Did they get removed? Or is that something else I'm thinking about?
You thinking of fireflies?
Fireflies, yeah. But I'm a bee.
Fantastic. Do you like flowers?
No, but I like jazz.
Oh. I set myself up for that one.
It did.
Do you...
Truly was.
One of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, the Bee movie.
No doubt.
Yum, yogurt.
You have yogurt.
Bees can't fly.
For the laws of physics and whatnot.
They have small wings but massive bodies. How does it work?
That's a closely guarded secret, actually. You'd have to ask William McKinley.
During my next seance, I'll ask him.
When's that scheduled for?
That's a good question. When's
William McKinley available?
Yeah, when he's available.
I don't know. Whenever Joe Biden's asleep, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a lot to do.
Say everything's okay, Joe, even though everything's not okay, Joe. Ooh.
Man,
Yeah.
what a good president. Have we ever had a bad president? I think all the ones we talked about today have been absolutely perfect.
Yeah, except, yeah, all of them, Andrew Johnson
And
was the
bald.
greatest.
Certainly.
The
Did
dude
we say
made
something bad about the name Andrew? I don't think we did.
Yeah, no, I don't think we did either.
Yeah. Womanizer George Washington, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
S tier, we love womanizing.
Yep.
Guy who got shot. Absolute Chad.
Yeah, we love
Emperor
womanizing.
Norton.
None of us have had girlfriends, but
Yes.
And Norton, the amazing emperor, the emperor of the United States.
Yes. There's a timeline when that worked, and Congress was just abolished, and he reigned for 1,000 years.
I don't think that's true. I think it was more like a few. More like maybe America hasn't even existed for 1,000 years.
That's true. What are we, almost a third? No, we're not almost a third of the way there. We are some percentage of the way there.
Yes, we are some percentage of the way there. We're like 200 and... No, 200, yeah, 200 and...
76, so 4 years we'll be at 250. A quarter of the way there.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I think so.
You said 276.
No, 250.
Okay, then.
I think that's correct math. Honestly, I can't wait if we're even still a nation by that point.
Yeah. If we haven't just erupted in another civil war or just completely collapsed,
Wait, what civil war? We had a civil war? I haven't heard about
Yeah,
this one.
You know that Honest Abe dude?
I do remember him, yeah.
He was the president during said civil war.
Bro, Honest Abe was the president?
Yeah.
I never saw that twist coming.
He abolished slavery using the 14th Amendment. The Emancipation Proclamation.
And that started a civil war?
No, that happened after the Civil War.
Oh,
what started the Civil War was that he wanted to, and the South didn't like that. So they seceded and became their own nation called the Confederate States of America.
Very unique naming system, gotta say.
Yeah, and the president was this dude, I don't remember his name. And then they fought. And the Union, which was the North, beat the South. And, yeah. And then it ended, and then they became one country again.
Very epic.
Yeah. And then Honest Abe got shot by John Wilkes Booth,
spoilers.
I already told you about.
Oh, yeah. You did. Good point.
Yep. So, alright, what are you going to be doing this fine July 4th, Peytonador?
I'm going to be in a parade, and then my family is hosting a party in an undisclosed location, and then I'm watching fireworks, and then I'm fireworking an orphanage. How about you?
I'm doing nothing. I have a few family members
Sounds
coming
fun.
over, and that's about it. I want to buy some fireworks and put them in a microwave or a watermelon.
Oh, one of those sounds way safer. Grant, why is our house on fire?
I'm sorry, Mom. I just put a firework. I put a firework in the microwave.
For science.
For science, and God and country.
God bless the USA.
Woo! As a fire.
And Emperor Norton.
and Emperor Norton, yeah. You know, when I have children, I'm gonna name the first one Norton. You know.
So I bet he'll love that.
I don't think he or she's gonna love that. Even if it is a girl, I'm still gonna name it Norton.
My son, you're named after the bravest leader I've ever known. Wear that name with pride.
Norton. I'd imagine all the kids at school would make fun of him. Just, you know, call him Norton VPN.
That would be true. You're right. Honestly, I'd say in 20 years, I think every kid's going to be named Norton. It's going to be the most popular name of all time. And it all starts with... And Jesus.
Yeah, as the most popular names in the world.
It's going to start right here with this episode. We've started the ball rolling. History's forever changed. Our billions of viewers.
In a week, and then have kids in 8 months, and name one Norton.
Wow, speedrun.
How fast can I speedrun my marriage?
Even the childbirth was speedrun. 8 months?
Yeah, a month too early.
Womb clip.
Yeah. How fast can I speedrun my marriage challenge? You know.
You can. I've heard you can skip the. You can skip doing the labor cutscene if you use an item called something like a C section.
Yeah. An item, you mean an operation?
Yeah. It's truly fascinating stuff. Honestly, I'd say burst speedruns aren't nearly as fun as death speedruns, though.
Yeah, especially the speedruns become a fossil. Step 1, die. You know.
Yeah.
Peyton, we should start that challenge. You know, tomorrow. You know, speedrun to become a fossil. Whoever wins gets $1 million.
Wow, what a very useful $1 million.
It'll be donated to science in your honor.
Science still exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta say though, death speedruns just got nerfed a whole bunch now that Rogue got overturned.
Yeah.
Much more difficult. The main strat's just out. It's out now. Do you want to talk about stories now? Do you have one?
I don't have any stories.
Okay then.
I mean, I could probably think.
If you can think of one, I'll go first, I guess.
Right, you can go first.
I talked about Dungeons and Dragons stories last time, and we've had one campaign since then. More fun stuff to share, but I figured first. Now, before we cover all that, we should probably start from the beginning. so I don't have to make things weird and all.
Yeah, okay. Then.
Anyways, spoilers for... Well, not really spoilers. This is the Dragon Heist campaign or whatever official thing. So my character in this world is named Jeffington. Classic American name.
I was really hoping it was Norton.
No, but Norton. Next time,
Maybe I
it'll
should
be
join
Norton.
The name of character.
He was a young child in our old campaign. Now in this one, he's like a 40-year-old cleric. Absolute weakling, by the way. Worst stats in the game. This other character, played by Nomont, Sepra, has higher stats than him in every category. And so I served absolutely zero purpose in this mission. But yes, Nomont's character, Sepra, we joked that she was a woman because her name was all woman-like. And so eventually he just changed his character into a woman out of peer pressure. When I said that Nomont was an NFT kid, this is what I meant. He started like a donkey traveling service as English, you know? He bought a bunch of donkeys and has them carry stuff for people. And he's gonna get rich from it, or whatever. Absolute NFT kid. Other character, number 3. His name is Frank. He's an absolute murder hobo. He likes killing people. He's absolutely off the wall, crazy.
Yes,
This is Eli's character. The one that drunkenly fought a bear.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it's Eli.
Yes. Character number 4 is Dimbledore. Absolutely unique name. Of course, yeah, a wizard. Notably.
I've never heard that name before in any pop culture. You know, in pop culture.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't.
It's not
Dumbledore's
similar to at all.
Yes, Dumbledore's a mystery. No one knows where he comes from. No one knows his thought process. He's incredibly lucky, and he carries pretty much every encounter. And also, he wants to be a bird someday. No one can track him down. He's sometimes just there when no one knows. He's like a myth.
Sounds like me. Kidding.
It's actually a decent adaptation of Andrew. This is Andrew's character.
Of course it is.
Because sometimes he can just be in a voice call or whatever, and you completely forget he's there.
Yeah.
But yes, our first mission was to find some lost, attractive person, and we all died on the way. Yes, our Dungeon Master Andrew, the person behind Dimbledore, misread the mission, and we all died because it was way too hard accidentally. Luckily, he brought us back to life, kind of cheating, but it's okay because he got us into the situation with the first place. Somewhere along the line, Frank, the murder hobo, kills an innocent man in the sewer accidentally.
Oh.
The sewer was like a dungeon, and we accidentally left the dungeon into someone's basement, and Frank, thinking that this man was an enemy, stabbed him with a fishbone, and we fled upon realizing that we were not supposed to do that. That guy's never popped back up.
Probably because he's dead.
Yeah, he is likely dead.
Stab him with a fishbone. Thanks.
Thankfully. Frank himself died later on. He fell out of a tree, instantly dead, and a new character. Yes. Frank is dead. A new
What is-
character.
How do you guys play this game?
It's all intensely logical. A new
Fight a
character.
bird, you get up in the tree.
A new character named Schrank appeared. No relation. Took all of Frank's items and joined our party. If you can't tell, this one's also played by Eli. If you
Okay.
hadn't figured that out.
Complete mystery.
Yes, Dumbledore disappears for a few days, comes back with massive sums of money, and we buy a tavern, fix it up, start selling drinks. Apparently there's a ghost haunting the tavern. His name's like Florg or something, I forget.
Florida man?
He's actually pretty chill. He's a troll ghost. He flings stuff, messes around. We adopt and / enslave some new members. Some goblin twins, Vladimir and Victor, the ones that actually fought the bear while Frank and I were getting massacred. Harold is an old man, I think, inventor, artificer. Oh yes, this part. Somewhere along a dungeon, Frank and Separa, no one's character, they got mad at each other, and Frank stabbed Separa, and it did fatal damage.
Oh boy.
And our dungeon master, Andrew, was not paying attention. So he looked up, not realizing what was going on, seeing that we were all laughing, just asked what was going on. And we had to inform him that Troy's character was just dead.
Did no amount make another one?
No, luckily Andrew let us slide past that one, saying he was only knocked out, whatever. We did get our second total knockout, though, because great Dungeon Master Andrew opened a book using Separa without Troy's permission, and a trap triggered, and it blew us all up, and we died. That got reversed as well. But note,
boy.
it's the third time that we had to reverse.
You guys playing Dungeons and Dragons is not. It's the perfect team, but not.
Separa, Troy's character, the NFT.
I feel like I need to just
Gal.
intervene and you guys is playing of this horrible horrible game.
You might have to.
I'll join over a voice call. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this one we do in person. But luckily I can update you all as we go along.
You guys are crazy.
Those Goblin
Would-
brothers, Victor and Vlad, Separa, the NFT gal, takes them under her wing, kind of enslaves them,
Are those
actually.
you to fight the bear? I think it was, or some animal.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, Vladimir was the one who took out the bear,
Vladimir
Thankfully.
Putin.
on top of this squad of characters. I'm very low on. Jeffington is a useless character.
I'd imagine.
But yes, as we're sticking in town, after the last boss battle and whatever, that's when, well, the incident that I skipped last episode, Frank is a druid. He can shift into animals. He shifts into a massive rat, travels along the sewers to enemy taverns, and defecates in their beer supply, to put it politely.
Of course.
And it works. Andrew lets it benefit our tavern.
It's just
That same
sabotage.
night, minutes later, is when Frank and Jeffington fight a bear and almost die. And minutes after that is when the acid trip boat incident occurs.
Well, you know,
Yes.
Frank fights a bear. Hi.
That's where I'll leave it off for this episode. But next episode, the bear incident part 2. The party strikes back. That's all I gotta say. There will be more bear fighting in the next episode.
Of course. I was unable to find a story, fortunately, because of how ridiculous your Dungeons and Dragons story was.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Sometimes it's just gonna be difficult to match these things
Yeah.
that come out by sheer insanity. Concentrated insanity.
I just imagine you guys just sitting in the basement, just getting bored and just deciding to do a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah. You're not too far off.
Of course I'm not too far off.
Alright. Where? Did you hear that?
Yep, I heard that.
I'll leave that up to the audience's imagination about what all that was.
He dropped the skull of a child in
Yeah,
a
essentially.
metal thing.
Good guess. Correct.
Thank you.
We're over the hour mark. Is this where you
We
want
are,
to
we're
end things for episode 2?
Sure.
Alright, what's our outro again?
Thanks for watching, everybody. We have an official YouTube channel called Robert the Podcast, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Robert the Podcast.
And our podcast is available on Anchor and Spotify, so if you'd like to check us out on those two things. Yet again, I am Foollboy.
I'm Peytonador.
And this is Robert the Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Apologies.